Hi, my name is Nick Schaefer. I'm the Director of Career Development here at Gwen and Mercy University. Welcome to today's employer meet and greet. We are excited to have Barry from Keystone Care, who she's the Director of Volunteer Services there. We will be discussing general information about the organization and current and future possible volunteer and job opportunities. Welcome, Barry.
Hi, I'm so happy I could be here chatting with you today.
Great. We're excited to have you. Can you start out by telling us a little bit about the organization?
Yeah, Keystone Care is a wonderful organization. So we are a organization that does home care, palliative care, hospice, and private duty nursing and home health aides, as well as social work for patients. So we help patients who may have just had surgery, who may have a longer term pain issue, or that need hospice or just other sorts of care. We have nurses, we have CNAs and home health aides, we have actual PT and OT professionals as well, and social workers. So we can really meet a continuum of needs for our patients. One of the really great thing that I like to talk about is we were founded in the 90s, so a little over 20 years ago, because our founder really saw there was a need to offer hospice for all types of patients. She was seeing a disconnect where some hospices were not allowing AIDS patients for differing reasons from things about them. And so she said, that's not okay. Hospice is something that people need. It's a way, for those who don't know what hospice is to allow us to live our last days peacefully, without pain, to support the families and things like that. And so she saw that there was a need to be able to offer this equitably, and across the community. And I think that's a really lovely sentiment for how we were founded and what we really represent as an organization.
Thank you, Barry. And for viewers that are watching this, you can see Keystone Care's website in the bottom of the screen and their email address on the right side of the screen. Barry, what are some volunteer and job opportunities available for students and maybe alumni?
Great. So the volunteer opportunities are available within our hospice programs. So in hospice, we have a couple different places where people can volunteer. So one that is what probably comes to most people's minds first is you can offer to be a patient volunteer. So what does that mean? What does it mean I'm going to see patients? So it means that the volunteer office would work with you after training to place you at either visiting with a single patient, a couple of families in their homes, or possibly in a facility like a Sunrise, a long-term care facility or nursing home assisted living. One of the beautiful things of hospice is we meet you wherever you are, whether you're at home or in a facility. So patient care volunteers go and they just sit and they visit. They might hold their hand, they might read to them, they'll chat with them. We might talk about the cat today, we might talk about music, or we might just sit and have me read you a story. So it's really just a nice way to give people another connection point. And particularly with COVID, a lot of our patients have been missing that. Their families may not be allowed in very often, or there might be stricter regulations on visiting, or they might be a little bit more closed off. So being able to offer people some other human connection is really, really important. So that's one big piece. Another piece of our volunteering is our home office, and where we do have hospice patients. We have an in-house hospice, is on Stenton Avenue. And we also have volunteers who do admin. So we may have people come in and put together marketing binders and put together the nurses training binders and help with other things around the house that allow our staff to really focus on their jobs. Instead, during COVID, when we lost those volunteers, people were taking things home and working crazier hours. So it's really a huge help, possibly calling back doctors' offices and working with medical records and things like that. We also have a few other, like if you have a certification for something and you're a yoga instructor, obviously our hospice patients are not doing crazy yoga, but you might be able to do some stretching with them and show. If you are a chaplain or you work in a religious, you might be able to volunteer for spiritual services also. So we also will take you where you are. And if you say like, I have this skill, we might see where we can fit that. We have a facility that would love a piano player right now. They would really like somebody during their activities to come and play piano for them. So that's definitely something out there. So like you might think about that too, and be able to offer something that patients need. They love to do art, things like that. So we have some specialized things we can do as well. While I'm mainly here to think about the volunteers, I do want to be open that we are an organization that is constantly hiring, like most of healthcare. So we are continually hiring new home health aides and CNAs that will work with our patients and visit with them. We also are hiring nurses for hospice or home care and palliative care. So I understand for some nurses, hospice is hard. it's a difficult thing. It's a calling for sure. And if that's maybe not your calling, we do have other things, and we do offer, we are a great employer with benefits and lots of lovely things, and a great support and education and team. So you can also email the info at Keystone Care if you're interested in looking into opportunities. We are listed on Indeed as well for the job positions.
And Barry, for the volunteer positions, you are looking for students from a wide range of majors. Is that correct?
Yes, any student is eligible. You do not need to have any background. We will take care of all of the training. We will not send you out into the world on your own. Somebody from the volunteer or the social work team will go with you for your first visits to make sure you feel comfortable. You know what to talk about. It's all the normal stuff. Like, please, let's not talk about politics and religion, but otherwise it's pretty open. You're looking to make connections with people and, kind of just gab with them. I had a really lovely conversation in one of the memory awards about the cat that wanders around. And yes, it's a real cat. So we talked about the cat and what that meant and how we both liked cats or why and things like that. And so it can be really meaningful just to sit and chat with them, learn a little bit about their lives. At one place I was visiting, they had a couple of people who had been professors at Temple and at Drexel. And so it was just really interesting to hear from their perspectives what they did and how the world changed around them.
Great. And speaking of skills, you mentioned this before. What types of skills or qualifications or traits do you look for in volunteer employees?
We're really looking for people who will commit. We know that you guys are in school, you all are in school, and that there's only so much time. So we're not looking to commit for hours and hours a week. We're just saying that if we're going to do this at least a couple times, maybe once or twice a month for at least a year, it does take some training. And again, I think I didn't mention this before. You also don't have to do this alone. Please take a buddy. If you're in a pre-health organization, maybe your organization or pre-social work organization wants to think about us as a volunteer program for you. And then you can go out in pairs and you can do the training together. We don't want anybody to feel like, I couldn't do this. I can't do this by myself. Do it in pairs. Bring a friend, do it in threes, and then you might feel a little bit more comfortable as well. But we're looking for people to make a commitment. People who sometimes know how to be quiet. Sometimes the patients need quiet, and sometimes it's people who know how to chat. So we're looking for a variety of different things, but really just somebody with a caring and open heart who wants to make a little bit of a difference in somebody's day.
How about the interview process? What is that like for a candidate?
It's a phone call or in person at some point we have to meet in person meeting where we talk about why are you interested in volunteering? What draws you to it? What is your background? It's pretty simple. We will call your references. They can be friends, family, professors, coworkers, but we do ask for you to fill out our application. There's a reference check. There is a health assessment. If you're not going to go to the doctor anytime soon, that's fine. We have a self-assessment. Those are just things because we are a Medicare regulated field. We're working with patients that we have to do. Like, one of the other things is you would need a 2-step PPD. That's the TB test done, but we do those in-house. So it's at no charge to you. We'll support you in doing that. We do also require COVID vaccination. I'm not sure what your college's rules are on that, but we do require all volunteers to be COVID vaccinated just for the safety. And we're offering that here. So if anybody hasn't gotten it yet or needs a booster, we do those too. We're happy to help. But so it's not an arduous process. It does take a little time to read through the training materials and go through the quizzes and stuff. But we want people who just want to meet our patients. And so it's no specific skills needed. We don't need you to be already a nurse. We don't need you to be working to be a nurse. If you're interested in social work, just interested in talking to people, that's all great for us.
Great. You mentioned a little bit of this before, but what are the exact steps for students to find jobs and to apply for positions?
So the first step is to email info@keystonecare.com, and then somebody will get back to you. So if it's for the volunteers, you'll get a whole application packet. So fill out this paperwork, and once we get the paperwork back and have a phone call talking about the questions I said, like, why are you interested? What's your background? I do want to also, this is something that I hadn't said, is if you've had a personal loss in the past year, you are not allowed to be a hospice volunteer. We do ask for at least a year past a loss, just because it's hard and we don't want to confuse signals there. So it's questions like that. You'll have your interview and fill out the packet, and then we'll give you the training materials. And it's a lot of self-study. So then we'll work through that, and then we'll kind of go over it together. There's a little bit of an orientation, and then we'll be able to match you. So the process usually takes about 3 weeks. 3-4 weeks, depending on how fast. I mean, with students, you may have a heavy course load. It may take you longer to go through the binder of materials. But that's kind of what the process looks like for volunteers. For if you're looking for a position, please be very clear in your email to info@Keystone Care that you're interested in applying for a CNA position, a HHA position, nursing, something like that. And then somebody from our HR department will get back to you to set up a time to chat.
Great. And Barry, is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just that we'd love to have you involved. Keystone is a really special place, and to be able to help patients and people feel good and calm at that point in life and feel supported is just really meaningful. I know it's something we all don't like to think about, and if you've never had experience with hospice, it's hard, but it's lovely, and it's a really great opportunity out there that we love for you all to join us. And we're a great resume builder. Having consistent volunteering is something we know you're all looking for as well. And so we're happy to be that on your resume as well.
Thank you, Barry. And
Absolutely.
students, for other employer meet and greets and career development programs and events, please go to our event page at gmercyu.edu/CD and click on events. Thanks again, Barry, for all your information and for your time.
Thanks for having me.